to do this, I've got 6 pasters, right? And I always do these kind of drills like this in a string of 6.
Okay.
And the reason I do these in a string of 6 is just because it's easy to be accountable for 6 shots. Then I go down and paste up the targets. So what we're gonna do is we got a clean target. We're gonna use this. We're gonna call this our plot target. Okay. So you're gonna hang on to this for me real quick, and I'm gonna demo this with 2 shots. Okay. So I got 2 pasters here. Gotcha. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stand back here. I'm gonna draw the gun. I'm gonna get the best grip pressures I can apply to the gun on both sides of the gun, right? Okay. As soon as the dot tells me, hey, it's aligned where I want it to be, I'm gonna fire that shot. Okay. But I'm gonna fire the shot, and as I'm watching what the dot does as I'm giving the trigger input in, all right. Okay, and I'm not done listening to the feedback of what the gun's giving me until the dot begins to lift in recoil as a result of the shot being fired. Okay. Okay. And then what my job is, as soon as I do that, I'm immediately going to divert my attention down, so I'm not tempted to go down there or to look down there and see a hole. Mm-hmm. I'm going to holster up, and I'm going to tell you where I believe that shot to have impacted the target. Okay. Okay. Based solely on what the dot's telling me. Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. Yep. So, and this isn't a speed exercise. This is all about just building a good grip pressure. Okay. So, I believe that shot to be right in that area there. So you would take a paster. Okay. And we're going to stick that one about right there. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to fire one more.
All right. This is where you're staying. All right.
I'm thinking that one, what I saw from the dot, should be somewhere about there. It's in the lower kind of left quadrant of the A zone. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to do 2 because this is about you, not me. Okay. Okay, we'll go down range and we're going to take a look at where those 2 shots are. My holds is a little off just a bit. Yeah. Right? But there's shot number 1. Yep. And there's shot number 2. Wow. Which was a little low and left of what I saw. Yeah. Right? So again, we're going to do this, and I'm going to have you do this 6 separate strings, right? So each string of 6 is going to be a separate draw, present, watch the dot all the way through, you actuating the trigger, and what the resultant lift of recoil is, right? So this isn't about get a sight picture and then like isolating the trigger press as something different. Right. Because then the problem is, as soon as you start to isolate the trigger as something different, your vision lets go of where the dot was at to actuate the trigger. So it's you being able to watch what the sights are doing. This is why it's so important to manage the sights all the way through the press of the trigger. So your job is to see, does the dot start to dip low and left? Does the dot stay nice and held, steady all the way through until the dot goes and bang, right? And as soon as the dot lifts, it's where did the dot lift from? Right. So if I get aggressive, if I put the dot up here, but I get really aggressive with my trigger press and I see the dot dip down, before it checks out, where do you think that shot's going to be called at?
It's going to be where it started lifting.
It's going to be exactly where it started lifting. So even though my point of aim was here, and this is where people get this wrong, is they go, I put the dot right there, and the problem is they visually, let go of their process, to fire the shot. So they go, well, the dot was there for my sight picture, but my sight movie, which is how we should be kind of registering information from the gun. The sight movie told me that, hey, as I'm giving it an input with the trigger, I watched the dot go down to the left and then check out.